Hi there, I'm Coach AJ and you're watching a new episode of Living Fully Fit. If you enjoy the content you're watching here, make sure to subscribe down below to get updates on further content updated regularly on this channel. Also, in support of the channel, make sure to put a thumbs up down below as well. And if you know anyone who can benefit from these kind of videos and the content we share here on Living Fully Fit, make sure to share as well. Let's get right into it. So this summer we're doing this whole series called Frequently Asked Questions. And so I've been doing my research and due diligence about questions that are asked constantly and continuously on Google and other search engines. And today's segment, we're going to look at the question that's frequently asked is, how do I move on? Because a lot of us have a hard time letting go. Whether it's from the past, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a situation, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a habit. Whatever those things are that you're holding on to, we tend to hold on very tightly to whatever it is or whomever it is. And we're going to look at what those things are, why we hold on to them, and how do we let them go. So for many of you, there's something you hold on to. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a relationship, a friendship that you've been hanging on to. It's toxic and doesn't do you any good, but you're afraid of letting it go because you've been friends with them since you were kids. But they're terrible for you. They're a bad influence. They're toxic. They talk down to you, whatever it is, whatever reason that is. Or maybe it's a significant other who has talked down to you and treated you terribly and abused you, and you're just hanging on thinking maybe one day it'll get better. Maybe one day they'll get it. Maybe one day, and you fill in the blank. And you'll kind of like make excuses for them. You're like, well, today was a good day, so maybe tomorrow will be better. But reality is that's not the case, and you're hanging on to something that's so unhealthy and so toxic in your life, and all it's going to do is drag you down and tear you apart and truly break you in the end. And it's going to be very hard, not impossible, but very hard to recover from that kind of breaking and toxicity in your life. Or maybe it's your past. You're hanging on to your past, whatever hurt or whatever situation happened in your past, and you haven't really let go or forgiven that person or thing or situation, whatever it is. You've just hanged on to that pain or that thing that you miss or whatever it is. And a lot of times when we're looking back at our past, we get stuck, we get stagnant, and we just remain where we're at, and we can't move forward to what potential we have. Or maybe you're hanging on to what's comfortable, what you're used to, your habits. This is the way it is. That's the wrong way. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you think that this is just the way it is, this is how I'm raised, or this is how I've been doing things, or fill in the blank, it's the wrong way. I guarantee you it probably is the wrong way. And you see this in corporations, you see this in job markets, you see this in church, you see this at home. Well, this is the way we've always done things. This is our tradition, this is our habit. You can't, I already hear this phrase, or maybe you said this phrase, well, I am who I am. This is how I am. But you can change how you are. Believe it or not, we are all meant for change, for reformation, for transformation. And we miss it because we're stuck. We're stuck that we think that we can't move past this because of our past or situation or because of our habits. But you can move past this very easily if you allow yourself to do so. But it takes us to let go. Maybe for some of us it's a little bit slow. I get that. And some of us just need to go, let go, right? Just drop what we're hanging on to and move on. And I get that's hard. I get cutting someone out of your life is a difficult thing because you're used to that person. Heck, I've cut out family members out of my life because they're toxic, because they brought no really redeemable qualities into my life. They just tore me down. I've cut out people in my life that will just run me down, and it's okay to do that. I'm not saying you have to cut every person that offends you, but if there's a habitual pattern of toxic relationship where they just hurt you and take and destroy who you are, it's time to go. It's time to let go. If you're always referring to the past and what happened back then, back in the day, it kind of reminds me of the movie Napoleon Dynamite. You have Uncle Rico, who is just, this guy who's stuck in the past, and he's, if I would have played that game, I would have been a football star. If I would have if I would have done this, if I would have done this better, if only I could go back to that day. And we get stuck on that and we miss opportunities. Or maybe it's that person you're just holding on to. Well, maybe they'll change someday. I just know that if I can change them, I'm a good influence. Maybe they'll see what they can become through me. And we do that, and it's unhealthy. It's bad. Don't do that. But we do that. If you get into a relationship and you're thinking, I can fix that person, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't. They have to want to be fixed. They have to want to change if they're in a certain rut. And you shouldn't be going after people who are just toxic mess in the first place. Allow them to heal, find themselves, and then let that naturally happen as it's supposed to happen. When you're pursuing someone who's unhealthy, all you're doing is digging a ditch and digging a hole for yourself to be buried in. So my challenge here is and now we've kind of talked about what those things are and how we get stuck and all that. How do we get out? How do we get out of letting go of what we're holding on to? How do I let go? That's been the question. It's been on Google so many times. How do I let go? How I let go? Maybe it's things. Maybe you collect a lot of junk. Maybe it's trying to compare with the other people around you. Again, maybe it's that person, that past situation, whatever it is, or that's that anger, that hate, or whatever you're holding on to. How do you let go? It takes conscious effort to realize you need to. Maybe listen to the person who knows you the best and says, you know what? I noticed this about you. You need to let this go. It takes us really having a self-assessment of what we are doing and who we are with and so on and so forth, what we're hanging on to, and allow ourselves to be transformed. Because a lot of times we don't. A lot of times we just get stuck and we're like, well, this is the way it is. I'm hoping this will change someday. It reminds me of the story of this guy. He's stuck on the roof and it's flooding and he's praying to God, God save me please, God save me please. And a boat comes by and says, hey, get on the boat, you're gonna drown. The guy's like, no, I've been praying for God, he's gonna save me. The boat leaves. Then another boat comes by, it's like, hey, get on, you're gonna drown. No, I'm okay, I'm praying to God, God's gonna do something. And then a helicopter flies by, grab the ladder. And the guy's like, no, God's going to do something here. So the guy keeps praying and praying, and all of a sudden he just drowns and dies. The water just gets too high. He gets to heaven. He's like, God, why did you let me drown? And God's response to him is simply this. What do you expect? I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What the heck, guy? And the whole point of the story is simply this. Is a lot of times we're asking God, help change me. God, help me do this. Help me do that. X, Y, and Z, right? I need to let go of this person. I need the right person. And we are thrown all the right situations, the right people, the right timing of everything we do, the instructions of how to let go of things are right there in front of us. We're just so blind because we're fixated on whatever we're fixated on. And we're going to miss the moments we're afforded to us. So my challenge for you, as you're looking at your life here and how we move forward, how we grow, we have to be cognizant of our lack. We have to be cognizant of our need. We have to be cognizant of what we need to change especially. And be honest. Don't be in denial. well, they had a rough life, that's why they're abusive. No, that's a terrible thing. That's a terrible excuse. Don't make excuses for people's bad behavior, especially if they're toxic to you. That's a terrible thing. Well, this is just the way I am. I was raised this way, that's why I'm racist. I was raised this way, that's why I smoke. I was raised this way, that's why I drink. I was raised this way, that's why I'm X, Y, and Z. No, it's terrible. Well, you know what? That's my past. That's what I want, Well, I could have been something bigger. I would have done this. Well, you can change your course now. Don't look at the past. Don't hang on to those things that are toxic. Look at what you can do now to change your course. And I'm not talking about a small little 3-degree turn. Make a 180. Do something drastic. A lot of times the people who do the most drastic changes in their life experience the most wonderful fruit in their life. When you plant more seeds, you bear more fruit. So I hope that answers the question just a little bit of how to let go. Really, how we let go is by making that 180 drastic change that benefits you as a person, which will benefit others around you, will have a collateral effect. Thank you for watching. I'm Coach AJ, and this has been another episode of Living Fully Fit. Take care.